Hello fellow paranormalers. Today is the 19th of December 2014. Very, very close to the end of the year and the beginning of yet another year. I don't know quite where this year's gone, really. Anyway, this is just a very quick sort of vlog. I did a whole series of my sort of question videos, really, and I have actually done 3 what I call rather serious and probably psychological, paranormal or parapsychology related videos coming up. I'll probably do one every week for the next 3 weeks, and I might do some small videos in between, just, you know, kind of keep my hand in, really, and not disappearing off the planet quite yet. But yeah, so I had an excellent bit of feedback from Mike Paranormal about a couple of the videos that I did, and one of them being, I think, which is quite interesting and very apt for really right now. And I've actually sort of said to Mike before that, you know, I think sometimes Mike and I are on the same wavelength or something, or we're tapping into the same stream of information somewhere, because we will both produce, and it's not just Mike either, as you know, I have come across this with actually other people. It's like ideas are coming in, and you know what I think it is? I think that the spirit world are sending out messages to people who are tapping into this level of information that, you know, the spirit world is in or part of. I think they're pushing ideas out to people. And the video that I put on about, you know, what is the next step in the technology for the paranormal, I think is quite interesting. You know, it's quite an eye-opener, because there's sort of really good developments happening at the moment on various different levels, on sweep radio technology, on combined technology, which is something that I've seen. And I actually thought, myself, I've thought, why can't, you know, surely somebody out there, not me, I mean, I'm not a designer for technology like that, but I've thought, you know, how come we can't have a K2 meter and a radio sweep and blah, 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 you know, and a recorder and all of that all in one device? And then, hey presto, you know, in the past week or two, you know, there's I think it's called Ghost Arc, seem to have produced a concept. I think it is really maybe in the early design stages, but it's a conceptual design for kind of a paranormal device that encompasses all of that, which would be absolutely amazing. I mean, it's pretty pricey, and I would expect it to be anyway, because if you were to buy all these things separately, you know, they cost a fortune. And then there is also camera technology now. I mean, we've had the release from the people who do, I think it's called Big Beard, and they've just released an app called the Ghost Cam Pro, I think it's called, which is an app that runs on a Windows machine, I guess a laptop or a notebook, and a PC that's got a camera attached to it, that can allegedly, you know, detect anomalies and differences in temperature and all of those things. I mean, it's actually, we already had the SLS technology, which incorporated a Windows-based tablet, as far as I'm aware, and some kind of censoring device on the front in a kind of, you know, it looked a fairly crude kind of unit. Extremely expensive. It was something like $1,200 or something. I mean, that's just well out of the price range of, you know, probably 99% of paranormalists, to be honest, because we don't earn money doing this stuff. I mean, it's just research, and we do it out of the goodness of our hearts and the passion of doing it, really. So, but yeah, it certainly seemed to be coming along. I'm going to wait to see, one, whether these products come on the market. Two, there are people, if you like, in the paranormal community that test this stuff out. You know, they've obviously got the funds to go out and buy this stuff and then test it out, and then they upload videos, and you know, it just generally seems to be the way things happen. I personally tend to hold fire on a lot of these things until, one, the technology has been released and is stable, and two, whether it really works, whether there are other paranormalers out there that actually use it. You know, does it actually really work? And I guess that's what we all want, really, at the end of the day, is to see that this stuff works. So yeah, technology, fantastic. It's coming on big time. Really good, and you know, it's interesting. It's interesting times. I'm still testing out the idea with the baby monitors. I just, unfortunately, with workload, I just haven't been able to get into the field and test these things, you know, these baby monitors out. May not have a chance to do that now until, you know, towards the end of January. But yeah, I've had results. It works. You know, it works. It works in a very small environment, and it works very well. So, and I can understand how that's working as well. And then there was a video that I saw of someone else, an English chap. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but he did a demo of, and he's obviously seriously into radio technology, and actually designs his own radio sweet boxes, and he was playing around with the concept of using radio waves that are non-commercial, and I thought, wow, that's really taken it to another level. So, you know, I was aware that there's this whole range of radio signals, you know, bands, and then within that range, it's cut up, obviously, by the industry into various different sections. And there's a military band, and then there's a commercial band, which is all the local radio stations, etc. And then there's a band for walkie-talkies, and then there's a band for, you know, probably businesses and corporations, and then there's a band for, you know, aeroplanes, and, you know, I mean, but he's able then to use some sort of special device that he's kind of pre-programmed a whole range of these different bands going across the whole bandwidth range, if that makes sense, and doing sweeps across that, which I thought was quite amazing. I mean, you know, well beyond my scope of but I could understand where he was coming from, because I understand how the technology works. But to think, you know, along those lines is quite amazing. So, yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of technology out there. From simple, basic. Like I say, most of the time I tend to use just a recorder, and I get EVPs, you know, consistently wherever I go with a recorder. I've always got a recorder with me. I've always got my SB7 with me, and you know, I just consistently get EVPs wherever I go. I did a session this morning because I could, you know, sense and feel that the spirits were there. Was about 5 spirits this morning that wanted to get my attention, you know, and I did a session that was 12 minutes long and got nearly 60 EVPs. Some of those were actually very quiet, and I couldn't really decipher what they were saying. But the majority of those EVPs were really quite good. Some voices I'd never heard of before. So, and I don't know who they were. You know, so it's quite interesting. You know, a lot of the typical kind of help me sort of things as well were coming through. So yeah, but you know, that was using my SB7 actually doing that session. So yeah, coming up to Christmas time, I've got got a lot happening around Christmas time and at the beginning of January, so I don't think I'm going to be able to submit a huge amount of things, you know, but I can certainly comment on videos, and I'll be obviously watching everyone that I'm following on YouTube, and I welcome everyone to comment on my videos if you've got something to say. You know, I'm getting more and more subscribers, which is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, considering how many paranormalers are out there. You know, it's probably quite difficult to try and pick and choose you know, something that's interesting to watch and that interests you. Some of the channels that I actually watch on YouTube, generally they seem to fall into two camps. You've got people who just like doing vlogging and interviews, which is all very interesting, because you do get to see interviews with some very interesting people who've had experiences and hauntings and possessions and all of these other things. And then you've got the people who are trying to copy the mainstream TV, you know, ghost adventures and all that kind of thing, which, you know, I kind of shy away from. I mean, you know, I can understand why people want to do that kind of thing, but there's very few people that actually seem to do that with a purpose, you know. I don't know whether I'm making sense, but if somebody's got a purpose to do it, I can understand why they would like, you know, why they want to do it. But when they're just producing a TV show, you know, and put the word paranormal in it, I follow them because probably one video out of every 10 or 20 is quite interesting, and the rest of it is just a copycat ghost adventures kind of template. But yeah, you know, I mean, hey, I'm not knocking them, but I just find it very boring, you know. People keep going back to the same places all the time. So many paranormalers go to the same sites and produce the same stuff, and it kind of gets a bit samey, you know. There's a whole world of stuff around. So anyway, yeah. That's my vlog. Anything else I can think of? Not really at the moment. I have asked some fairly pertinent questions to, you know, sort of the spirits that I talk to on a fairly regular basis, and I've not really, and neither has anyone else, I notice as well, when they ask questions about, you know, are there any indications of what's happening in the world? You know, do we, you know, is there anything that we need to be warned or prepare for? You know, sort of questions like that, really. And we generally just don't seem to get any answers. I certainly don't, anyway. And there seems to be very few paranormalers that do get straight answers to any of that, which I find quite interesting. But, you know, I don't know whether maybe you have to speak to a certain type of spirit or guardian or whatever, you know, what angel, whatever they might be, so that, you know, you get intelligent responses. I don't know. It's all really interesting. So anyway, that's my vlog. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again in another video.